Alrighty, so I'd like to thank you for joining me today, both of you. Darius, I am a huge fan of Once Upon a Mattress, so I'm excited to have you on my podcast. For the first part, can you please introduce yourself for those who don't know who you are?
Hey guys, my name is Darius Wright. I am currently in the cast of Once Upon a Mattress on Broadway. Live in New York City. Been here for 10 years. This is my sixth Broadway show. Yeah.
That's awesome. Since you're currently in Once Upon a Mattress, what was the audition process like for Once Upon a Mattress?
I initially for this one I got called in from my agent and they wanted to see me dance. So I went in, I danced, and then came back later that day, read sides for um, the Jester. I chose it. You could read for the Wizard or the Jester, so I chose the Jester. And I sang, came back sometime later, I don't remember when, um, sang a different song and did the same scene, but actually for the Jester this time. And then that was it.
That's awesome. And so, were you a part of the New York City Center production as well?
No, I
No.
actually I didn't see it at all.
Oh, wow. So this is really just throwing you in.
A little bit, but it's not my first time doing something this quickly.
Yeah.
I've done an encore show before, so and some summer stock productions, and so
Yeah.
learning quick and just putting it out there.
Yep. Carly, you
All right. So I wanted to ask, who are like your favorite people that you've gotten to work within the industry? You said you've been in eight, is that right? Eight Broadway shows? So I
Six.
six. I'm sorry, they're even
But
numbers.
we could put eight in the atmosphere.
Sure. I'm putting it out there for you.
Like, what was the question again?
Who are your favorite people that you've gotten to work with? So other actors or like directors or choreographers.
Um, I would say that I did a production of Matilda, and I think that was just like one of my favorite teams to work with. It was my first big thing that I did, and I loved that team. I loved their attention to storytelling. It taught me informed a lot about how I wanted to tell stories in in the future and things I still use today. Um, so I really loved that team and the people. And then my other favorite groups of people that I've worked with. Oh my God! I mean, like, there's so many different ones. I will not say like specific people. Except for I will say that Sutton currently is very interesting because she's the first thing I saw. So it's just more of a surreal moment of being 15-year-old and not knowing what musical theater was, and my school's having an audition, and I Googled Thoroughly Modern Millie, and I don't know what the Tony words are, and I'm watching her perform Forget About the Boy, and now I look at her, and it was like, oh, that looks fun. I'll go audition for a show. And then now she's just like, hey, Darius, and she like touches my knee before she goes on stage for Shy, and we have like a little interaction. I'm just like, and this is normal, and I'm like, and it feels normal. That's kind of cool. But I really love this cast. The cast is really fun. We get along really well. Back to the Future, that cast, we get along really well. Bronx Tale, still my homies, my Broadway debut. Like we still hang out, like core group of people. And then also my Pretty Woman family, like and my New York family, like they were, oh my gosh, yeah, yeah, really good. There's a lot of good people, and you have good community. So I have good memories with that.
Yeah, that's great. And so, as an actor, who are some of your biggest inspirations?
Inspirations, um, I mean, actor singer Audra McDonald's definitely up there, and I'm currently really interested in. I'm just looking at Zen. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Zendaya.
Zendaya?
One of the two. I just her body of work, like seeing her just like move through the current day and age, I'm really intrigued and like how she's navigating all of that. Um, More in theater, what's his name? Oh my gosh. Um, um, oh my goodness, I'm blanking right now.
What's he
Uh,
been in?
I would say like Mark Kudish is another one of those. I started learning to sing like him because I played Mr. Trevor Graydon back in high school. So like we walk our dogs in the park together. So it's kind of cool to like, listen to him. Um, more, I don't know. And I currently I'm inspiring myself as an actor. I'll just say that like I really like the work that I'm doing and how I'm showing up in classes still. And yeah, I just love my work ethic. So I'm also just also not looking at other people so I can focus on being my best self. Because I'm always going to go and I'm going to go to a theater and I'm going to find something great about the 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 people on stage and the story that's being told and the way that in their individuality. And I think I find something cool about seeing that in them so I can do it myself. Because there's always something to learn from everyone.
That's awesome. And so, Kylie, you have the next question.
Yes. All right. Do you have a dream show or a dream role or both that you're interested in doing in the future or that you just want to do at some point?
Um, I definitely always wanted to be Richie Walters in a chorus line. Never have done it, never have really gone in for it, except for like once a long, long time ago. Um, that's always one that comes to my mind when I think of this question, if anybody asks me. Other than that, I want to be a series regular on some TV show. Like and that hasn't been written yet or is writing and is in production somewhere. And so like that's kind of like what I would like to be doing is just kind of like rest my body a little bit if possible in that arena and but really invest my time into like um scene work and something that's more consistent um um, and like the type of storytelling that I'm really interested in right now, which is more in the TV film world.
That's great. And so, what got you into theater as a child?
I mean, I got into theater at I was 15. I was one of my friends from the track team. She was also an officer in theater, and I went and saw they were did Nonsense, and they invited me to come, so I went to go see it. And I waited after, and I was like, "Great job, everybody." They're like, "Hey, can you sing? Can you dance? Can you act?" I was like, "No, it's okay. We just need people. We're doing a production of Thoroughly Modern Millie. Like, promise us we just need a lot of people. Promise us that you'll show up." And it was one of my good friends, so I was like, "Okay, sure. Pressure, pressure, pressure. I just want to be a good friend." And then I Googled what Thoroughly Modern Millie was, saw the Forget About the Boy performance. I was like, "Oh, look, tap dancing. That sounds fun. It looks cool." You had to buy the album on iTunes to download it. So there was no streaming back then. Bought it with my money that I was making from where did I get money from? Hollister. And then yeah, bought the album and then listened to it and went in audition, danced, and then he had me sing and I was like, oh, I'll just sound like the guy on the recording. And then I ended up getting Mr. Trevor Graydon. And then that's kind of how it started.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Kylie.
All right. I think you sort of touched on this when you were talking about your favorite people that you've worked with, your favorite teams of people. But if you had to pick like your favorite project you've been a part of so far, what have to pick one? What would that be?
Um, I would say New York, New York. It was like another one of those. You want me to answer why? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yes.
um, uh, New York, New York was a very special for me personally. It did not have a long life on Broadway, but it was long enough for me to like love it and to fall back in love with musical theater. Um, it was again going back to the Tony Awards. I watched the Tony Awards, so I saw that performance on YouTube of Thoroughly Modern Millie's performance. That was again, oh my gosh, I was 15 years old. That was what 2000 and oh my gosh, 2007. I watched that. Jeez Louise. Anyways, um, And then, yeah, because I graduated 2010, sophomore year. Um, and anyways, I didn't actually watch the Tonys until 2011. I was my freshman year of college. I went to Oklahoma City University for musical theater. And then I ended up working at a theater in Oklahoma called the Lyric Theater of Oklahoma, doing summer stock. My first time, getting paid to perform after my freshman year of school, which was kind of cool. Um, and we all watched the Tony Awards, and I didn't know what they were. So I still like even I didn't know what the Tony Awards then. I'm just now learning that I was watching the Tony Awards performance at 2011, like 4 years later after I watched the first time. Anyways, um, we're watching. I'm like, ooh, this looks familiar. Oh, this is what the thing is. And then Scottsboro Boys comes out and they perform. And it was just seeing lots of Black people singing the way I like to sing, moving the way I like to move. And I was like, who are these people? What is this show? And so I went on down a rabbit hole. One of the guys from that show came and was our, oh my God, Cole House Walker in Ragtime. So I talked to him about it because he was in the performance and he gave me the lowdown. So I like Googled everything and was like, okay, Scottsboro Boys, Susan Stroman, Kendra and Ebb, like, like let's write it down. Um, and I they just always been on my list of people I wanted to work with, like that team, that show. And so walking into the room with like John Kander there and Susan Stroman there, and it was kind of cool. And to work with them and to be casting it, to do an original show is beautiful. I was on stage, and so being able to create a character of my own, and we all had so many things so we got to be individuals in that show, and I was a photographer, so I took pictures on stage, and I still have I have a camera that I still carry with me, and I take film pictures still, which is like my fun little hobby now. Since that, um, yeah, it was a beautiful show, a classic musical theater, which is my favorite thing to do. It's kind of hard to find these days, but to sing the way that I sing naturally, it was in the group of people were just wonderful. It was the first time I've been a part of a company where there was no, it didn't, from what I saw, there was like no drama. Like it seemed like we all got along in the building really well. And, and, and I have had past experiences which made me want to kind of leave theater. And this one was one that made me see that, oh no, theater can really be beautiful and it can be fun to come to work and it can be fun to like do this with the people around me. And we had painted backdrops, like hand painted backdrops, no LED screen. Like it was so cool. It was so cool. The costumes, everything. It was just, yeah, it made my little musical theater heart really happy.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And so you performed on the Tonys with New York, New York, right?
I did. I
Yeah.
performed, I had my little camera. I took a picture and then I like go back into yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
I
that's
have
awesome.
like a screenshot of it. It's like, oh, it's just me. It's just me on the Tonys. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's great. And so what advice would you give to your younger self if you could go back in time?
Um, oh my gosh. I think there's so many things that I could go into. I think outside of ultimately like trusting my intuition, like and being able to listen to it's a big thing I'm working on right now in my life is being able to trust my intuition and listen to the voice inside me. It's a tiny little voice, tiny little voice that you have to like listen to when things feel good, when things don't feel good, and being able to like um speak those things in the present moment, which gets you into boundaries, learning your boundaries. Like today, I'm not doing the show because my knee's been hurt for a week, and I was like, nope, today's not the day. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. I don't need to push for anybody because this is a long game. So I won't be at the show today. You guys know I am hurt, and I've been holding on because we don't have that many swings. So, but today is about me and my body, and that's one thing I won't sacrifice, beyond what I feel like I want to. Yeah, because I have a life beyond this show. and being able to just text that to the stage manager and being like, great, cool, great, and that going into other areas of life. But yeah, just I would just say know who you are, and know you don't know who you are yet, but you have something special, and protect it, give it, love others, and also yeah, just protect that little light inside of you. I think it's really important, and it's what makes you unique. You don't need to um, mold yourself, or I don't need to be Audra McDonald to be great. I can be Darius Wright, who's inspired by Audra McDonald is inspired by so many people, and Audra is a part of that in the way I approach my work, as well as so many other people, artists, Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, like yeah, like just so many artists whose music that I love will find their way in all the work that I do, as well as actors and the way that I see them work. Um, but at the end of the day, I will always be myself.
That's awesome. And so this next question kind of ties into the last one. What advice would you give to younger performers who want to do acting professionally?
Go to class. Go to class, go to class, go to class. I am still in class. I've been out here for 10 years. This is my sixth Broadway show. I've made a couple TV performances, appearances, I mean to say. And most people I know who want to keep going to class, keep getting better. Um, and also like, yeah, because this is art. Art has no cap. Like you're never great enough. You know what I mean? You're always going to learn something. You're always there. There's room for growth. There's room for, improvement. And so I'm still doing that. And I advise anyone who wants to pursue a life in acting to, yeah, stay in class, keep getting better. Also invest in life outside of it. Like I have a dog. If you probably can't hear it, like, and my dog is everything, and I love him because it helps get me outside of that. I don't have time to like waste anymore. um Even now, like I'm not going to get all the jobs that I auditioned for. I don't expect to. I also don't, and I don't take it personally. Just like I know that I'm not gonna marry every single person I go on a date on, like the same kind of concept. Like,
Yeah.
whether like I'm like, you know what, I'd rather actually not. I've gone to auditions and been like, you know what, I'd rather not. And I leave because I'm like, this isn't gonna work out. So let me just go,
Yeah.
or the opposite, like, you're just not the one. You're like, okay, great, cool. You could turn around the next corner and then like and it works out. And so I would also say like, read the four agreements if you haven't read the four agreements, and know not to take anything personally because it's not always about you, which is also like which is a blessing, and I believe that.
That's awesome. So that actually wraps up the interview today. I'd like to thank you for joining me today.